Good morning, pregame crew. How are y'all doing? It is Wednesday, October 19th, 2022, 6:23 a.m. Mountain Time, 8:23 a.m. Eastern Time. Good morning. Thank you for joining us. Today I'll be going over, as always, indices, commodities, crypto, movers and shakers of the day, and my goal is to get you ready for the trading day. I'll cover economic events. I have notes on the other screen. I copy and paste those for TCG members when I'm done. I'll get started officially in 6 minutes. Between now and then, I'm going to say hello to my friends, do an audio visual check, and maybe have a chance at a couple requests. Good morning, Greg, Whitney, Lisa, Matthew, Luciano. Good morning, Carlos. Hey, Casey, Andre. Hey, Maddie, Rob, ER. Yeah, hit that like button. Hey, Night Truck, how are you? Mal, Josh, Eli, Mary, Amir, Tess, Chris. Thanks, Night Truck. Thanks, ER. Hey, Jonas, Mary, Fat N, and Jessica. Good morning. We have a little bit of a mixed open. We have Netflix with a big old beat, and the market bears are taking back over and giving back a lot of that large move overnight. So we have a lot to discuss. As my Meemaw would say, we have a lot to cuss and discuss. She barely cussed, but it rhymed. Hey, John. Good morning to you. Hey, Andrew in Canada. Thomas, Bobby, Mike, Joka. Hi. Let me go back up, see if I have any. No, Matthew. I would not sell QQQ275 puts. You have to remember, I answer questions so specifically like a normal human from my vantage point and what my strategy is. And selling naked puts is not part of my strategy. Now, I think selling puts is a beautiful way to own stock long term. That's what Warren Buffett does. I think it's brilliant. However, to sell QQQ puts today on a Wednesday with Tesla reporting after hours, Beige book today, Bullard speaking today, to me, those are all binary events. I have no idea what Tesla's going to do. I have no idea what the Beige book is going to say that reports 8 times a year. So for me, it's too many events outside of my purview and expertise that I feel like that it would be a gamble. I need to be able to measure probabilities. If you give me patterns, if you give me our list, which I haven't pulled out since last week, I figured I'd do it again this morning. If we look at our list of things that we can measure that are in our purview, weekly trends, moving averages, RSI, what's the VIX, what are international markets doing? Those things I can measure, and I can tell you with a probability, here's the more likely scenario. But once you throw in there events in there that I have no handle on whatsoever, and nor can most of the world, then that just changes the game for me. And also, again, my vantage point, I don't sell puts naked. I primarily sell premium. So remember, whomever you ask a question, would you go long QQQ here? Some people would say, sure, because they know they're short Apple and, in another position. So you never know what other positions people have on as well. Hello. Go back up. Did I miss it? I'll be going over levels. We'll see, Mary. Hey, Scott. Gotcha, Matthew. See, and your perspective is different. You have long positions that you want to hedge. That makes sense. It's kind of like selling covered calls. So if you have a Tesla position, you're like, I've had this since it was before split and it was $100, whatever, and you want to hold it, then you could sell covered calls today against it and collect a premium crush. Of course, if it ramps higher, you benefit on the common side, but that call goes against you. But it is a hedge against your long position. Hey, Bass, Ludovic, Sam. Building permits. That's typically not a market moving event, but it doesn't mean it won't move it today. Doesn't mean it. In my opinion, so I'll say my opinion before I get started with facts. In my opinion, the price action that's been happening last week and this week have just been newer traders. When we see traders by, this is going to sound really odd, but when we see traders in futures buy at exact levels or exacting levels, that can sometimes mean that we just have newer traders in the market. And it makes sense considering the volatility that we have. Do you think that Goldman Sachs is enjoying this volatility? No. Jamie Dimon? No. This is not what an orderly market does. And people like Jamie Dimon or Goldman Sachs or Wells Fargo, whomever runs these hedge funds, they don't wait for exact levels to enter. They can't, because they're going to move the market anyway. Of course, a lot of it's done dark pool. They don't wait for exacting levels. All of these exact levels hitting, like look at this one from the other night, Sunday, 3591, and they bought the dip at 359050. Those exacting levels, yesterday we dipped below that 3700. That 3700 level, newer traders know that's typically a good area to buy. They're buying it. We're just having extreme volatility and short covering, and we're just not building structure in the market. And it's causing this extreme whippiness. So if you're not succeeding in this market, especially these last couple weeks and this week, that's normal. You're not supposed to have extreme experience in this market because we're in a new market. We have a lot of things happening that traders before us did not have to deal with. These Ukraine and Taiwan headlines are pretty extreme. Of course, they had Saudi Arabia war, we've had assassinations, we have had headline risk, but it seems like we have a confluence of headline risks that are different than most. Daniel, I set stop losses on option contracts based on the underlying. So for example, if SPY, if you had a put on SPY and you said, okay, I will exit if the intraday high is taken out, 37238. And then you can set a conditional order in, let's say you're using Thinkorswim, and you say sell my put if 27240 is reached. Option contracts for me are always based on the underlying. Option prices are just too hard and not tied to the underlying as clearly due to the Greeks, so I base it on the underlying. If you don't know how to set a conditional order, tons of YouTube videos on how to do it, or you could just set an alert. Tell me when SPY goes to 37238. It'll give you an alert and you're like, oh, okay. And then you could also, in that alert, want to edit it, and you could say stop out of SPY puts and tell yourself why you set the alert. Dark pool is where institutional people come in and say, okay, I want a chunk of Amazon and I want $1 billion worth. If they were to come in and buy $1 billion worth on the market, it would disrupt our orderly market. So they tend to do it off market. They're still required to report it. So we have services like black box stocks. There's different services that report dark pools, and it shows us what is happening, but it's not happening on the regular exchange. Think of it like a ticket, like it's all paper. Just think of it as paper or manual. It's just not someone clicking buy, sell, sell. They say, I want to buy 1 million shares of Amazon, and they just put that order out there, and they wait for someone to match up to their order. And then Wells Fargo says, okay, we're done with Amazon. We'll sell you 1 million shares at that price that you're requesting, and they match it up offline. And then it's reported. They have, I think, 24 hours to report it. You're welcome, Daniel. Y'all ready to get started? Let's get started. Good morning. You're at the pregame show. That's not what I want. This is who I am. I'm Chart Guy Lori. I'm part of the Chart Guys community, and we teach technical analysis. And what I do here every day is I go over indices, commodities, crypto, movers and shakers of the day, and my goal is to get you ready for the trading day with a plan. Yesterday's plan worked out to perfection. It worked out pretty good. Nothing's always perfect, so I shouldn't say that. It worked out pretty well. So we're in here testing support here at 36.97.25. we have lost our daily, that daily lower high is now set because we lost the hourly uptrend that tells us that daily lower high is set. Now, bulls are waiting for the daily higher low compared to 35.02. And bears are looking for a top fish of the next hourly lower high if you miss this leg down. Good morning. You're welcome. Market adjacent orders. What a nice way of saying that. So I have notes on the other screen, and I reserve those for TCG members. When I'm done, I copy and paste it over to them. So let's get started with the indices. And as a reminder, if you're interested in my chart setup, like what do these colors mean, you can click on the video description below to receive a PDF explanation as to what all these colors mean. And if you would like, you could give me a follow on Twitter at ChartGallery. All right, to get things started with economic events, Beige book today at 2 o'clock. That can be a market moving event, 2 p.m. Eastern. We have Tesla earnings after hours today. Hang Seng was down 2.38%. Do you see that? That's a pretty bearish day. DAX was down 0.11. And I know that if you went home last night thinking, wow, Netflix beat, we're going to have a green day today. That is great for the market, but it's not enough. We have too many headwinds for Netflix alone to stave off all of these bears. So what do we have going on? Let's look at it. All right. So this was something I introduced last week of trying to get some type of a more objective tool to communicate to you how I take in information. Now, if you are a bullish divergence or bearish divergence trader, we've had traders in TCG that were wildly successful only trading weekly RSI bull and bear divergence. Yes, it's possible. And so their weighting on this would be 10 instead of 6. So I'm just coming to you from my perspective, how I am synthesizing the data and coming up with my thesis. So market bears have the weekly trend. Market bears have the daily trend, and the lower high was just set. Bulls have the 4-hour, but they're hanging on by the hair of their chinny chin chin. 3697. So we have a 4-hour uptrend still. Hourly, they lost it. Volume is not telling me a lot other than we don't have a lot of sophisticated players in the market. And when we don't have a lot of sophisticated players with big money being put to work, then we don't have an orderly market. So I'm expecting continued volatility. And we talked about it yesterday when I went on my off record, in quotation marks, what I was looking for from as far as my opinion based on the last couple weeks of action. And it's happening. We have these big moves, then we give it all back. All right, key long-term moving averages here. I put an X in the category for bulls. And what I'm speaking of is that weekly 200 MA that's holding on so many charts. So that gives bulls just a glimmer of hope. We have NQ bearish RSI divergence on the 4-hour. That's a point in favor of market bears. I see no market patterns or RSI patterns are chart patterns that I see that are significant enough to comment on. Daily lower high is possible on Dixie, so that's a point in favor of the market bulls. But look at what dollar's been doing overnight. Look at that. Does that explain this weakness that we've been having? Absolutely. They typically, not always, have an inverse relationship. All right, VIX, daily lower high is possible for me. So let me clarify on the dollar. So for the market bulls, the dollar, we are looking for that daily lower high. It's most likely, well, it's not completely set yet, 113.92. So let's see if we get a lower high compared to 113.92. Actually, let me measure that before I say that definitively. Yeah, we pulled back more than 50%. So a lower high is possible. That's a point in favor of market bulls, but on shorter term time frames, it's a point in favor of market bears. So just remember that. VIX. VIX here, we have an inside bar. A daily lower high is expected on this bounce and an EQ to continue. So for me, that's a point in favor of market bulls because VIX looks good on shorter term time frames. But look at this, a 4-hour lower high is still anticipated. We got an hourly higher high, but we're running into the 50 MA. For me, that's a point in favor of market bulls. All right, bonds, US 10-year is super bullish. We just broke resistance. It's running lockstep with the dollar. Look at this bullish chart. That's a headwind for equities. Bonds cannot get anything constructive going. That's a point in favor of market bears. I'm sorry if I'm clicking back and forth too much. I just think it's important that we cover this information. This was the 2-hour potential falling wedge that we were looking at. It broke bear. So all of these patterns don't have to break. If we have a bullish pattern, it doesn't mean we will get a bullish outcome. We have, especially when you're in a downtrend. So let's do this. I haven't gone over this, I don't think, ever. So if we are in a downtrend and we have a bullish pattern develop on a shorter time frame. So this is the large time frame. Let's call this the weekly. And then on the 2-hour, sorry for this writing, we have a bullish pattern develop. If that pattern typically, let's say that pattern typically has a 65% chance of resolving to the upside. If you're in downtrends on higher time frames, that gets knocked down. Then I'm spitballing this. Bukowski, I'm sure, has done this work, but then it decreases your chances that this is going to resolve to the upside. Does that make sense? The prior trend, prior to whatever pattern you're evaluating, the stronger the trend preceding, it weighs on the probability and it decreases it. And it says, oh, bulls, you normally break out of this 65%? Let's look at what's been happening to the bonds. Look at that. Okay, well, you're kind of hosed because now this is looking the probability is much lower because the preceding trend is so heavily to the downside. So that's not good for market equities. Apple had bearish news yesterday. I'm looking for Apple for a potential bearish trade today. iPhone sales are down compared to anticipated, yada, yada. That is an overhang on the market. QQQ can't get anything bullish going on. SMH is, I didn't make it through these. I'm going to delete that one because that was left over from last week. Hang Seng is down over 2%. That's a point in favor of market bears. Last time I looked at DAX, it was flat. Yeah, 0.11. We can't glean. No, it's not in the chat room somewhere. I'm working on it, Mal, and massaging it. Okay. So let me go back to my notes. ES, let's get to ES. I haven't gone over, I feel like I just went over all my notes at once, but it was the abbreviated version essentially. So this channel is still in place and I'm just going to call it a channel. I'm going to keep it simple. I don't want to give any bias to this channel as in a potential rising wedge. So it could be bearish. Sure, it could be. If I anchored this over here, it could be, but these are the same lines that I had yesterday. So we're down here testing 36.97.50, and it's not lost on me that we lost the hourly 50 MA, which you know is important to me. So, and it could be important to you. If you track it, you would see how it comes into play tons and tons of times. So on the next bounce, aggressive bears are looking to top fish these hourly lower highs. And bulls are looking to bottom fish a daily higher low. And the way you would do that is wait for a 15-minute trend change back to the upside. That would be an aggressive bull attempting a daily higher low bottom fish. If you made me guess, I would say the daily higher low is most likely not to be put into, oh gosh, that was like all the adverbs and double negatives in that sentence. Let me try again. Odds favor that we won't have any daily direction or confirmation that a higher low is in until after Tesla earnings tonight. Okay, that was a little bit better. I am looking for more clarity tomorrow. I am looking for noise today. Does that make sense? Lots and lots of noise. Okay, I don't want to delete my channel. So let me give you the hourly resistance and support. Okay, 37.53.25 is your next resistance, and your support 370175. Do y'all see that pullback hourly? Lower high is the more likely scenario. NQ. Okay, NQ. On the next bounce, bears are looking for a lower high. Let's say they hold 11,08150, which I think would be pretty impressive. On the next bounce, bears will be looking to top fish lower high. And do y'all see this RSI, this bear divergence? We haven't made a lower low on price yet, but we have on RSI. That has me leaning more bearish because that's a clear bearish divergence that's sticking out right now on RSI, just showing that inherent weakness. But that inherent weakness was overnight on lower volume. I am most interested in what happens during regular trading hours. RTY. RTY of our Fab 4 is the only one that has broken yesterday's low so far. So yesterday's low, 1746, we broke it. So RTY, the riskiest asset class of our Fab 4 indices, is selling off harder, meaning more fear entering the market. Yeah, we can't get anything going. I'm watching ES off to the side here. So we've lost that 4-hour EQ to the downside. It increases the chances that NQ would lose that 11,081, ES would lose that 36975, and YM increases the chances it would lose that 30333. So maybe, where do we look for daily higher lows? Typically, we start looking for daily higher low scalp begins on first hourly oversold conditions. Now we are in downtrends on higher time frames, so sometimes the hourly oversold conditions don't mark a bottom. Considering the size of these moves, I feel more comfortable, and maybe I'm talking slower today. I don't know what my deal is. I got really good rest and I'm relaxed. And I have the sauna waiting for me in 15 minutes. I can't wait. So daily higher low, scalp begins first hourly oversold conditions. I trust this setup more due to the size of these moves and the real estate that we have left to scout that daily higher low. Bulls have proven enough to make that a possibility, not a guarantee, but a higher possibility. So this may be the most important sentence that I tell you all day, right there. I do it bigger so you can see it even better. There we go. All the boomers. We can all see it now. Daily higher low scalp begins, and I think today is premature. And we may not get that hourly oversold until tomorrow. If it happens today, I may look for it, but I would look for it for a scalp, not a hold, because I think Tesla could still derail the market. Yeah, can we get it to 100 likes? Let's see, how many likes do we have? Oh, I think we do have 100 likes. We just hit it. Thanks, Jason. All right. So Dow, your support 30333, and your resistance on the next bounce on the hourly is 30682. VIX, we went over. The hourly 50 MA is a big headache problem. We have a double top right now at 3150. Your next resistance 3193. Bulls have made enough room for hourly higher low. On the 4-hour, we're looking for a lower high. So we could get a market bounce soon, but we need the dollar to chill the frick out. Kids, frick is a bad word. So looks like we're getting some upper wicks here on the dollar. Hopefully that can cause a temporary pause and a pullback, and that would be a good area to get a bounce going for the market. Don't assume you know what direction the market will go today based on one event in a vacuum, i.e. the Netflix earnings. Don't assume that that's enough to carry the market. That would be a mistake, I believe, to go into today looking only bullish because of Netflix. There's too many other variables impacting the market, like the US 10-year, like the bonds, like the dollar, like Ukraine headlines, like Taiwan headlines, like the Beige book, like Bullard, like Tesla after hours, Generac. They bombed on earnings, bombed. Procter & Gamble did okay this morning, but we still have lots of earnings ahead. Hey, Lori C., thank you. And I'm sorry that wasn't a sauna flex. I actually asked the members because I didn't want to spend a ton ton of money on it. And Jason was the one that reminded me at Costco, and it's been unbelievable. And you know what is helping me with the most? Carpal tunnel. I go in there with throbbing knuckles, and then I come out with, and my wrist, and I come out with everything feeling better. So it is helping. And I promise I'm not that type of person to flex. And if that sounded like that, I apologize. Okay, we went over Hang Seng being down 2.38%. Let me go to my notes. Bitcoin daily 50 MA rejected price. We're inside yesterday's range for now. Hourly EMAs continue to suppress price. So if RTY, let's go over if this then that statement, okay? So if cousin RTY, which is a risky asset class, broke the daily inside bar bearish, does that increase, decrease, or no change to the probability that Bitcoin will take out yesterday's low? If RTY, another risky asset class, is taken out yesterday's low, does that increase or decrease the chances that Bitcoin would take out yesterday's low? Carpal tunnel flex, that's about right. So RTY, that would increase the probability that Bitcoin would take out that low because it's a very risky asset class. And that's up for debate. I'm not going over fundamentals. I'm just saying how the financial world views these different sectors. There you go, Paul White. All right. So Bitcoin, do you see this hourly EMA? I'm sorry, I have a violent analogy, but when I see the 8 EMA just dominating price, to me, it's like a big bully with one arm tied behind their back, and that one arm behind their back is the 21 EMA, and they're just having to use one hand, and they're just slapping. They're like going Will Smith on Bitcoin price, slap, 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 and they do it with one hand. They're like, you are not going anywhere. No, left, right, left, right, left, right. And it's silly. It's so silly. But whatever resonates with you, make sure that you are having your thought processes reinforce what's going on here. This is not bull domination. This is bear domination. Don't get on the wrong side of this. A heating pad, a beating pad too. But I do have a heating pad, and I do use it. I have one of those rice pads from Etsy that helps. Yep, crypto, you got it. All right. So Bitcoin hourly EMAs are beating down price. Bears have control. Ethereum daily double top. No, the hopes and dreams of a cup and handle were diminished or blown up, obliterated. 1342, 1344 double top. You have support at 1263. Do you see how it popped up to the 21 EMA? Now look at Bitcoin. It hasn't been able to pop up that high. So Ethereum has a little bit more relative strength, but it's nothing to write home about. An hourly EQ is possible. If Ethereum could change the hourly trend, it could save Bitcoin here. But overall, we have crypto relative weakness to the market is giving us clues on our indices. Gold. All right. Gold. Let me go to my notes. For me, we're on that monthly 50 MA with an inside bar. It means everything, but we're threatening it here. The odds favor that we take out 1622 at this point. With this much of profit taking, we're on what, the 19th? We've basically popped, and we've had 19 days of an October. It's been sell, 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 throw away all things gold. So with dollar strength, this doesn't look like it could hold. 4-hour downtrend. Hourly downtrend. If you're looking for a bottom fish against that 1622 monthly level, wait for at least a 15-minute trend change, at least. Oil. So oil is okay. I liked oil this morning for a potential long. So the problem with oil is it has inventory today at 10:30. So let me go here, actually here. No, here. So we talked about the weekly 50 MA rejecting price. Okay, we're still looking for a weekly higher low. We have pulled back about 75% of that move, which isn't good. So bears are going to be waiting on the next pop-up for a weekly lower high. However, odds increase here that we have a weekly higher low to be set. And we got 4-hour oversold and we're bouncing. So I think a bottom fish against 81.72 makes sense. I actually commented on it in the commodities room this morning that 15-minute you could look for a high. Wait, no, that's not it. That's not it. That's not it. You could look for a 15-minute higher low this morning, looking for that weekly higher low. I think this could be the area. I think this could be it. And if it goes below 81.30, I'm wrong, and we have to fish closer to $76 nat gas. All right, nat gas. This is extremely, extremely weak. Odds still favor a monthly higher low compared to 5325, but man, are they just coming in hot to this level. We have nat gas inventory tomorrow. No sign of bulls. Don't give them any rope. If this could be a vol climax, then we would see a 15-minute lower high and potential higher low, and you could bottom fish against the low of overnight and stop out fast if it's lost. Remembering we have inventory tomorrow. Apple, I'm looking for a top fish against 144.50. Apple had the bad news. Remember, they had the bad news about the iPhone. I'm not saying it's game over for bulls. It just increases the chance that this 147.54, that lower high is most likely set because we lost the hourly uptrend. Now that daily lower high is set, yesterday's high, and then bulls will be looking for a daily higher low compared to 134.37. But I like a top fish, and I'm being pretty specific here against 144. Amazon, let me look at my notes. 2-hour EQ getting tight. It is stronger than Apple at the moment, but I just didn't see an edge. I would look for a top fish against 119.05, but if we're going to top fish, I'd rather top fish Apple because they're the ones that has the bearish overhang. So I just didn't see that as being a stellar trade. And Nvidia, it sounds crazy because now I'm actually doing opposite. I'm going for the weaker player. I like a bottom fish of 116.18. Semis could not get through that mother bar yesterday. We talked about this. How pretty was that? Did y'all get the semi trade? This is the star I drew saying here's the queen of the mountain. I said we had an inside bar, but we had to get through the mother bar yesterday. And 33. And we rejected by 52 cents at that mother bar. And we pulled back, hard. Like hard. That was a major, major opportunity on SOXS, and I like a bottom fish against either 175.04 or 174.55. Semis are just a little bit different than Tesla and Netflix, so I like the idea of it doing its own thing and possibly making some type of change down here. This was a diamond bullish reversal pattern, and so I'm looking for a laggard long trade in SMH today and Nvidia. The news about Twitter and employee stock options is they froze their ability. Now, I'm paraphrasing here. They froze their ability for Twitter employees to sell stock in lieu of the pending transaction. So they're saying, employees, you can't sell your stock because we have a pending transaction. And the algos interpreted that as the transaction is more likely to go through than not, because typically that SEC filing is done very close to transaction being finalized. So that's what that means. Tesla, did anybody get this 4-hour top fish yesterday? I know I was looking closer to 232. I was just too far away. But man, it was just a beautiful, beautiful trade setup. I don't have an edge for you. We have earnings after hours. I think it's a dangerous play today because you could look to top fish it at the upper end of this megaphone, but bulls that think they're going to beat just like Netflix did, which there really is no correlation, but they could assume it and buy the dip. So I'm not going to touch Tesla today. Netflix beat 259.03. It keeps a long on the table for a potential bull flag. So I like Netflix for first 5-minute oversold or a dip buy in the 259 area. It's a difficult trade. After earnings trades for me are ninjas only. LMT, this is my queen of the mountain trade. I like LMT for first 5-minute oversold. It had an outsized move yesterday. They had some news and they're affirming their guidance or something. Plus, we have all the war news, all the war news. So until the war news, subsides, these war names like Lockheed Martin should have bullish favor. So I'm looking for a first 5 minute oversold on Lockheed Martin. Let's go set the alert. Okay, Peloton. Lori Ann, whatever my name is, hereby solemnly swear that yes, I continue to pick on Peloton and I'm not sorry. Sorry, not sorry. I like a 808 top 808 kick drums, make the girlies get some. If you know that song, you're getting a gold star from me. So daily lower high anticipated on Peloton. So I'm picking on it, shorting 808. And I didn't pick it just because it's 808 kick drums. Slow Devil, if you overnight me a kitten, you will kill me because I'm so allergic to cats. So please don't overnight me a kitten, please. I know that I am being very contrarian with that semis long idea. So you got to be wrong and be wrong fast. If you attempt it, that's my mindset. If I'm wrong, I'm going to be wrong fast. And if I'm right, the reward will more than outweigh the risk. Turtlenecks, I get that. I totally get it. Nobody, 808 kick drum, nobody's going to say who that is. Okay, RCL. Okay, I'm going to continue to pick on the cruise lines. So Carnival Cruise completed their offering yesterday and they ran up crazy. Looking for daily hoe or lie. You got to hate that hoe that lies. I promise I don't do that on purpose. Lower high compared to 52.42. I'm looking for a short against 49.12 on RCL. And then semis, I gave you that, told you that idea. You'll take the kitties. Oh, Simone, she loves the kitties. Yes. What could go wrong? It's the Beastie Boys. And y'all want to know which song of the Beastie Boys has the most bass? And how I know that, we just don't even need to discuss it. But I used to have a woofer issue in high school, but it's slow and low. Okay, we're looking for a daily lower high on MSOS. We do have headline risk. If you're shorting this, you have to be quick when these headlines come out to jump out. But I think a short against 1045, and I'd give that sucker to 1050. I'll add this to the Queen of the Mountain trades, shorting 1050. What do I think of JD? I think Jack Daniels is a fine whiskey. Kidding. Daily Bear Flag potential or Juris Doctorate. Pops or for shorting as long as we have these downtrends on higher time frames. And I slow what I say down because I try so hard not to speak in absolutes, not just for liability reasons, and I'm not as worried about that, just for my own mindset. I want to always think in if-then scenarios. If JD's going to find a bottom, then it really needs to hold the low of yesterday, which was a double bottom, and it can't hold it. So now we're drifting down to confirm that daily bear flag below 42.21, and it increases that odds. So that's why I maintain my bearish stance as long as the 8 EMA is overhead and we're staying in this downtrend. All right, that's it for me. It's 7:02. Dan's already live, so y'all, a lot of y'all have already left. Thank you for joining me. I appreciate each and every one of you. Use stop losses. Don't forget about the Beige book. It can sneak up on you. And the most hawkish Fed is speaking today, that old Mr. Bullard, not old, OLD, I'm not calling anybody old. So just be careful out there, folks. Use stop losses. No, Simone, you are the queen. Love y'all. Bye.